Today, I'm going to walk you through a live tool that shows you exactly what 5 years of home ownership can do to your net worth here in Los Angeles. We're using real inputs, real math, all based on historical data. If we haven't met yet, I'm Caleb Ramsay, your CCC Realtor here in West Los Angeles. I work with buyers who want clarity, compassion, and confident execution, my CCC style. If you're thinking about buying and want to run those numbers specific to your situation, you can reach out to me directly. All my contact info is in the description or in my bio. All right, now let's get into the tool. All right, everybody, so here we are. This is our wealth projection tool built specifically for California buyers, customized by the Stout team here with EXP. This is our home page. You'll see when you log in there. Everybody, I will share this with you. All of you will have access to it. We have 3 different areas where you can do some analysis. And then here's a free consultation request form and a contact us area. So right now we have just some generic basic numbers up here at the top. But if you want to get to the calculators, you can either click on the calculator here or just go down here to calculate my wealth. And this will take you to the tool. So we're going to use a purchase price of 1.2 million. That's a reasonable entry point for a condo or a smaller single family home in markets here like the West Side. We're going to move this to 6.5%. The current interest rates, mortgage interest rates are 6.5 right now, and are with a 30-year term. Now, the number that drives everything that really moves the needle with all of this, and specifically for Southern California and some of the higher end West Side markets, is the appreciation. So the annual appreciation number, we have it at 6.7%. And you'll see this little disclaimer here. It's information purposes only, but this is based on the average appreciation from 1975 to 2024. Here, just for a comparison, we have a fixed rate of the 10% on the S&P 500. Now you can adjust this, you can adjust the appreciation number. If you want to get a little more, we can dig into that later. But let's just look at what happens. Your home value in 5 years is estimated to be 1.65 million, just over 1.65 million based on the appreciation rate. Now, your total 5-year gain, including appreciation, principal pay down, and equity built into that appreciation, is $760,000 off of your $240,000 investment 5 years ago. And without doing anything other than owning your home and making your payments. And here's the part most people miss, is the leverage advantage. So if we look back over here, your down payment of 20% was $240,000. So you put $240,000 down on a $1.2 million asset, and over 5 years, that's 5 times the leverage. And you think about it, every 1% of appreciation earns you $12,000 on a $240,000 investment. I want to be honest with you, that 6.7%, like we talked about, is a long average. And this is kind of really cool here, this little slider tool. You can go up and down and see like year 3, year 2. Then again, these are based on averages. Some years are higher, some years are lower. So if you want to be conservative, go and chase this number down to 4%. We adjusted to the 4%. We jumped over here to our custom projection section, and we see here, it still shows 5 years, but our value in 5 years isn't as much at 4%, $259,000. But with our principal pay down, our down payment plus the equity, our total gain in just 5 years is over $560,000. That's 2.34 times ROI. For a fun comparison, pop over to the S&P 500. If you put that $240,000 in the S&P 500 for 5 years at a 61% total return, $146,000. Now that we see this, we've played with the custom projections. You can see the S&P 500 comparison. You know you can make adjustments to all these numbers however you see fit. Let's jump over to the cost of waiting section. Now, this is the section that changes most minds of the buyers I show it to. especially those that say, oh, I'm going to wait a little longer to save up more money. I want to wait until rates come down. I want to wait for whatever various reasons that they want to wait for. Right? We're going to use the similar numbers. We're going to use the 1.2 million purchase price. Let's keep the appreciation rate at 5%. Your down payment of 20% at $240,000. Current interest rate at 6.5%. But you said you wanted to wait, to see if things change, to see if the rates come down, all these various things. But while you're waiting, you're going to save some money. But here, the tool shows you that while you're saving money, the home you wanted is also appreciating and the down payment target is moving as well. So you may be able to achieve your down payment scenario, but your monthly payment, once you get there, will be about $300 higher. And there's some other things to consider as well. So if you bought today with your current down payment, your monthly payment is $6,000. Other things to consider. How likely are you able to save that money? Will you actually save $2,000 a month every month? Life happens. Things come up. You might have to dip into savings sometimes. You have higher property taxes every year. Obviously, higher home insurance premiums. Then you can't buy that same home twice. Another thing is it's just equity you're not going to earn back. Over that period of time, while you're paying more rent here, while you're paying your rent, you're not building wealth. You're not gaining equity. And the last thing to consider is you lose out on the tax deductions for your interest. So homeowners can deduct mortgage interest, which this explains here. So this right here is a great tool. If you're really considering waiting and you're used to do it, use this tool to figure out what it's actually going to cost you. You can plug in your numbers that you think are realistic, and you can actually see if waiting is worth it. That sometimes it is. Sometimes it makes sense. Most of the time, it doesn't. All right, so that was the cost of waiting calculator. The next section we're going to cover is an area that I get constantly. Caleb, should I wait until the rates come down? So here is the rate analysis calculator, all right? Are we really waiting for rates to come down? Okay, so we're going to stick with our original home price of 1.2 million, our annual appreciation rate of 6.5%. Just a little bit below what the average has been since 1975. Same down payment. And then here's where we're going to play with the numbers. So let's say they're at 6.5 now, and then we think they're going to go down to 6%. So right now, your payment to buy today is just over $6,000 a month. In a year, it's going to be $6,141 a month. You're also going to pay way more for the home. You're going to have a higher down payment amount, and your monthly payment is going to increase by $73. Okay, so let's say they go down a little bit further. So even if they do go down to 5.75%, right? So you waited a year, the rates went down to 5.75%. You saved up some money. You were able to afford the higher down payment amount of $16,000, luckily, hopefully. But you're only saving $90 a month. That's great. Everyone says, hey, over 30 years, that's $32,000. Here's the thing, average person in California stays in their home 11 years. So you're not going to truly realize all that gain. Also, you're missing out on all these other benefits for that full year. You're going to pay the higher tax rate once you purchase the home. You're going to pay higher insurance costs. You're not going to find the same home twice. And you rented that whole time, throwing away money that could have been building equity. And you lost out on those tax benefits. So really, the $90 a month you could potentially save, that's if the rates do go down, and we all predict they do, doesn't outweigh all the other benefits. You're better off getting in now while the purchase price is not going to go up, because appreciation is real. You look at it over, that's what I've talked about in the other portions of this call, is over time, homes always appreciate. That's a guarantee. Interest rates will always change. And guess what? You can refinance when they get to be favorable. You can't change the purchase price of your home. Once you buy it at that price, that's what you bought it for. So that's one thing, a really big thing I like to focus on and help people keep in mind. So the last section I want to show you all the way down here at the bottom is our historical data. This is 83 years worth of evidence, a national home value data. And here's what stands out. Home values have only declined in 6 of those 83 years. All 6 were clustered around the 2008 financial crisis. So that means in 94% of years since 1942, home values have held steady or went up. So that's not a sales pitch to convince you to buy now. That's just historical record. You can see here we can switch between a data table and a bar chart. And the crazy thing is that California specifically, like we've mentioned, has averaged 6.7% appreciation from 1975. So not every year, not every neighborhood, but over long timelines, that trend has been consistent. Southern California, even more. I've mentioned this in my market reports. Venice, in particular, had a 34% appreciation rate over the last 3 years. So you think about it, there's all kinds of areas where just the appreciation value is there. It's just the evidence speaks for itself. And I talk to buyers about this. I say, like, the past is not a guarantee of the future. I show this to you because most people have a distorted sense of how often real estate actually loses value. It truly takes a financial crisis for things to lose value. And those that survived and bought during this down period are the smartest people ever, are the ones that have made the most wealth. So this is the Stout team with eXp's wealth tool. Tons of great information in here. I invite you to come check it out, play around with the numbers, adjust the calculator, look at the cost of waiting information. And if you still have questions and we want to do this together, I'm happy to do a video call and screen share so we can do this at the same time. And I'll talk you through these numbers together. It's our goal to make sure you have all the information you need to make an educated decision. And we don't want you rushing into it or backing off because of fear. Use the data, use the numbers, and make the decision that makes most sense for you. Buyers are dealing with a level of noise that just feels different. Geopolitical uncertainty, economic headlines, election cycles and fears, interest rate predictions. And look, I get it. There's a lot of uncertainty out there and a lot of different opinions and different points of view. But here's what the 83-year long chart is actually telling you. There has never, ever been a time in modern history without something to fear. In the 1970s, it was stagflation and oil embargoes. In the 80s, it was the 18% mortgage rates. In the 90s, we had the Gulf War and the savings and loans crisis. The early 2000s brought us the dot-com crash. 2008 was a financial meltdown. And then everybody remembers the global pandemic of 2020. And through almost all of that, buyers who were financially capable and bought anyway built wealth. The ones who waited for the fear to go away almost always just paid more later. Look, I'm not saying to ignore your instincts. I'm not saying to buy when you're not ready. What I'm saying is that financial preparation matters. But if you're financially capable, if the numbers work, if your job is stable, and the timeline makes sense, then that's what you focus on, because people will always find something to fear. So here's the takeaway from everything I've walked you through today. Buying a home in West Los Angeles is not just about finding a place to live. For most people, it becomes the most significant wealth-building decision of their adult life. The monthly payment is what you feel in the short term. The equity you gain is what you keep in the long term. So the tool I walked you through today is available in the link in the description. Plug in your numbers and see what your specific situation looks like. And if you want to talk through what makes sense for you, not just a generic scenario, but what your income, your savings, your timeline, reach out. You can contact me directly in the description or in my bio. If this was helpful, hit subscribe, like, follow, all that fun stuff. I post weekly videos here covering the West LA market from a local perspective, and I'd love to share that information with you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.